Welcome to this Monday afternoon program of High Heat. I am Alanna Rizzo, flying solo today, but our guy Chris Russo will be back in his chair tomorrow. We have an absolutely jam-packed program. Matt Vasgersian joining us, the MLB Network Showcase game tonight. Yankees and the Angels will also address the Aroldis Chapman issue. Ryan Divish joins the show to talk about the Seattle Mariners. Is this finally the year that they taste the postseason? Julio Morales weighing in on Justin Verlander's early exit after an injury sustained on Sunday. And then, of course, we will also have Justin Turner from Miami live as they get ready to finish their series with the Miami. Very important series against the New York Mets beginning tomorrow. But first and foremost, it was a pretty tough weekend for pitchers, some because of underperformance, some because of injury, and some because of a tattoo mishap. I'm not quite sure about this one, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. Let's start in the Lone Star State with very much the American League ace and frontrunner for the Cy Young Award. Justin Verlander was cruising through 3 scoreless innings against the Orioles before being replaced to start the 4th. There was a little indication that anything was wrong with JV before he departed the game, but word came down that he was removed with right calf discomfort. And while there is still currently little information available about the severity of the injury, Justin Verlander was not available after the game for comment. Manager Dusty Baker announced after the game that Verlander will undergo an MRI today, being Monday, to determine the extent of the injury. Now, on the bright side for the Astros, few teams have their pitching depth, so the team should be able to weather the injury for the stretch run in September. But that postseason rotation looks a lot less scary without the AL Cy Young favorite at the top. And only a handful of pitchers in Major League Baseball history have won more postseason games than JV. And even at age 39, Verlander is currently outpacing his MVP season back in 2011 in almost every single way. So there is simply no way to replace that kind of production, no matter how much depth you have. Now, out in San Diego, the Padres might be feeling a little bit of buyer's remorse with the early returns from their trade to acquire Josh Hader from the Brew Crew. Hader wore it for the Friars on Sunday, allowing 6 runs while recording just a single out in the 8th inning as the Royals put the game out of reach. Now, typically, the definition of unhittable, Hader has been anything but with San Diego. He has allowed 12 runs in just 4 2/3 innings with his new team, but his struggles started even before the trade. In 17 appearances since the 4th of July, Hader has allowed 25 earned runs, 3 more than he'd allowed in any full season before his career, raising his ERA from 1.05 to an unsightly 6.52. Talk about buyer beware. Now, for the criticism the Brewers front office received at the time from making the trade, from myself included, they sure looked like they knew what they were doing. Now, perhaps they knew something the rest of the world didn't. However, at least Verlander and Hader are keeping their struggles on the field. You can't say the same for Aroldis Chapman, who was placed on the 15-day injured list on Saturday as the result of what the Yankees called, quote, an infected wound from a recent tattoo, unquote. Now, while he hasn't been the Chapman of old while posting a career-high 4.70 ERA, the Yankees need arms at the back of their bullpen desperately. They have recorded just 4 saves since July 31st, while racking up 5 blown saves in that same time frame. They are just one of 4 teams in Major League Baseball with more blown saves than saves during that span. The Yankees need an anchor in the pen for the postseason, and their highest-profile reliever isn't available because he couldn't wait until the offseason to get a tattoo. It's fair to ask at this point, can the Yankees count on Chapman once October arrives? And with the contract that expires at the end of this season, is this the beginning of the end for Aroldis Chapman's time in pinstripes? Matt Vasgersian is on the call for our MLB Network Showcase game tonight between the Yanks and the Angels. And Maddie, let's talk about Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah,
and Matt, I have to ask you, it's tough because, this is silly. Zach Britton is hurt. You have Clay Holmes hurt. You have King hurt. Chapman has an infection. Who starts the 9th? And hi, it's great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, Alanna. Weird times for that bullpen, right? I think that Aaron Boone knows that he has time to get this straightened out. And while you'd like to have everybody healthy right now, prove to everybody that you're going to be great through the fall, they're just going to have to keep taking their lumps. The good news is, they get Clay Holmes back today. At least he's scheduled to come off today. That's good. The Chapman thing is weird. Michael King, the year. Britton, the year. Chad Green, like all that stuff is lost. 80% of the Yankees' saves this year is on the injured list right now. But I think the thing that Aaron Boone knows, and I think we could agree with him on this, is that it just takes a good couple weeks for things to settle down. And the best example of that would be the 2019 Washington Nationals, who had a historically bad bullpen, one of the worst in the history of the sport through the All-Star break. They got it straightened out with a different personnel mix. Everybody hit at the same time and started to click in September, and they rode it all the way to a World Series win. So I think if you're to ask Aaron Boone what concerns him most, his bullpen health or his inconsistent lineup, he'd probably say he isn't that worried about either one at this point.
All right, so from their closer to the starter, Matt, Frankie Montas has been up and down since he became a New York Yankee. However, he has a lot of experience against the Angels because of his time with the Athletics, and he has had success against them. What are you hoping for tonight?
You know, I think he'll be better tonight. The question that I have for the Yankees, and we'll get this answered when we get a chance to visit with Aaron Boone before the game tonight, is why has he changed his pitch mix as dramatically as he has since joining the Yankees? Is this something that their people have identified and they want him to throw more four-seamers? Because the percentages are pretty stark. I mean, he's not throwing his split or his slider nearly as much as a Yankee as he did with the A's. And he's been inconsistent as a Yankee. Like, the ERA doesn't tell the whole story, even though it's a little bloated north of 7. I want to know why the pitch mix changed, but because he's had success in this ballpark and because he's had success against the Angels in particular, I think he'll go back to his kind of green and gold days tonight, even though there's some pretty good matchups for the Angels in the lineup tonight, notably Shohei Ohtani, who's got some numbers against him.
You know, it's funny that you bring that up because Shohei Ohtani was my next question. Last year between he and Vlad Guerrero Jr. was a great MVP race in the American League. How would you describe the race going on between Shohei and Aaron Judge this season?
Here's how I would describe it, Alana, even though we're going to get a lot of people that disagree with this. It's your favorite flavor of ice cream at this point, meaning there's no wrong answer right now. I mean, look, I've got some stuff that I wrote down for you, like the bullet points for Ohtani. If you're an Ohtani backer, you're going to point to top 10 ERA whip, top K percentage in all the sport, and top opposing slug, top 10 opposing slug. As a hitter, 3rd in homers, 5th in total bases and slugs, 7th in RBIs. These are American League ranks. If you're a Judge guy, you're going to say that his 124 games with 49 homers gives him a pretty good chance to become one of only a handful of guys with 50-plus home run seasons in multiple years. And how about this one for him? First player in American League history with 49 homers, 109 RBIs, and 14 stolen bases before September. So I think the big differentiating factor for voters this year is this. If you believe in the team narrative, then Judge is probably your guy. If you believe that the MVP is the single most outstanding player in each league, then Ohtani is your guy. But for me, the cheat is, we've talked about this in the past, and this year's MVP race in the American League is the best example we've ever had of it. Why not 2 awards? Why not most valuable player that serves the team narrative to a winning dynamic, and a most outstanding player or a best player, which simply goes to the guy who's had the best season statistically, because nobody's ever going to top what Ohtani does. He's really narrowed the gap in the last 3 weeks with the Yankees cooling off and with Ohtani going nuts on the mound. I mean, 7 shutout innings in Toronto this weekend got everybody's attention again. It's a coin flip. It's favorite flavor of ice cream right now.
Well, Matt, mine would be Rocky Road. If there is a most outstanding player, that would be the Mop Award. And Shohei Ohtani has definitely mopped up a lot of stuff for the Angels this year. Matt Vasgersian on the call tonight for Angels and Yankees in Southern California. Matty, have a great time. We appreciate you taking a few moments with us.
Thanks, Alana. Good to be with you.
You as well. All right, coming up on High Heat.